J1 Park stood at the observation deck of Harmony Station, watching the massive Verax battleship approach. The vessel's sharp angles and weapon ports made no attempt to hide its purpose. Unlike the elegant ships of other Confederation species, the Verax designed their craft to intimidate. "They're early," noted Hanju, J1's assistant. The young diplomat handed over a data tablet displaying the day's agenda. "They're always early when they wish to make a point," J1 replied, straightening his formal Earth uniform. The midnight blue fabric with silver trim looked plain next to the elaborate dress of other species, but that was by design. Earth had maintained its unassuming presence in the Galactic Confederation for nearly 30 years. The station's announcement system chimed softly. Verax delegation arriving at Docking Bay 4. J1 nodded to Hanju. "Let's not keep them waiting." They walked through the station's curved corridors, where representatives from dozens of worlds mingled. Many nodded respectfully to J1. As Earth's senior diplomat, he had earned a reputation for fairness and patience during countless negotiations. The Verax delegation waited in the formal reception area. General Krax, their leader, stood a full head taller than J1. His scaled skin gleamed under the lights, and the ceremonial blade at his hip was very much functional. "Diplomat Park," Krax said without bowing. "My emperor grows tired of these endless talks." J1 offered the traditional greeting gesture anyway. "General Krax, the Confederation welcomes the Verax Empire to this session. Peace requires patience." "Peace," Krax nearly spat the word. "Peace is what the weak request of the strong." Several nearby diplomats from older species exchanged worried glances. The Ardelians, ancient beings who had been spacefaring when humans still used stone tools, moved slightly away. "Perhaps we should proceed to the council chamber," J1 suggested calmly. Inside the grand circular hall, representatives from 500 worlds took their positions. Earth's seat was modest, placed among newer Confederation members, despite humanity's rapid technological advancement in other fields. Ambassador Tahi Kim joined J1 at Earth's station. "The Verax have moved 3 battle fleets to the edge of Navari space," she whispered. "They're not here to talk." "I know," J1 replied. "Earth Command is monitoring the situation." The Council Elder, a Meridian who had personally watched 200 years of galactic politics unfold, called the session to order. "We gather to address the Verax Empire's territorial claims in the outer systems." General Krax immediately stood. "Claims? We do not claim what is already ours by right of strength. The Navari are a weak species occupying valuable worlds. They will serve better under Verax guidance." "You mean Verax control?" Tahi spoke clearly, her voice carrying through the chamber. "The Navari have been Confederation members for centuries. They have rights under our common laws." Krax's yellow eyes fixed on the human representatives. "Laws protect the weak from their natural fate. The Verax Empire grows. We require resources. It is the way of the universe." An uncomfortable silence fell across the chamber. Many species looked away, unwilling to challenge the militaristic Verax directly. J1 stood slowly. "The Earth delegation proposes a resource-sharing agreement. The Navari systems have enough wealth for mutual benefit without conquest." "Compromise," Krax laughed, a harsh sound that echoed. "Always the human answer. Your species joined our stars so recently, yet you pretend to understand galactic order." The Ardelian representative, Elder Vos, spoke unexpectedly. "I would remind the Council that Earth's diplomatic approach has resolved 17 major conflicts in the past decade alone." "Because humans fear real conflict," Krax responded. "They hide behind words because their ships are primitive and their resolve is weak. We have studied human history. Your world spent millennia fighting amongst yourselves, then suddenly embraced peace when you reached the stars. Obviously, you recognized your inferiority." A strange tension filled the room. Several elder species shifted uncomfortably, but not from fear of the Verax. They seemed to be watching the humans with curious attention. J1 maintained his diplomatic smile. we learn that cooperation achieves more than conflict. We invite the Verax Empire to learn this lesson without painful experience. Something in his calm delivery made cracks narrow his eyes. For just a moment, uncertainty crossed the general's face before his arrogance returned. "Is that a threat, human?" "Simply an observation," J1 replied. "History has its patterns." The council session continued for hours, with the Verax refusing every compromise. When it ended, the Navari representative approached the Earth delegation with trembling appendages. "They will attack our worlds within days," the Navari whispered. "We cannot stand against them." Tahi placed a reassuring hand on the alien's shoulder. "The Confederation will not abandon you." Later, in their private quarters, J1 activated the quantum communication array, its security protocols far beyond anything the Confederation believed humans possessed. "Earth Command, this is Diplomat Park. The diplomatic approach has failed. The Verax are positioning for an attack on Navari colonies." The encrypted response came instantly. Assessment of Verax intentions. "They believe humanity is technologically inferior and culturally averse to conflict. They dismissed all warnings." A pause followed. "Understood. Continue diplomatic efforts for now. Defense Fleet has been alerted. Protocol Omega preparations authorized." Tahi looked at her colleague when the transmission ended. 30 years of hiding what we are, what we can do. Was it worth it? J1 gazed at the stars visible through their viewport. "Peace is always worth attempting. But the Verax have mistaken our restraint for weakness." He touched the small insignia on his collar, a symbol that would mean nothing to other species, but represented his true rank in Earth's carefully concealed military structure. "How long before they realize their mistake?" Tahi asked. "Soon," J1 replied. "May they survive the lesson." Captain Do-hyun Lee stood on the bridge of the EDF Resilience, his face illuminated by the soft blue glow of tactical displays. The ship appeared modest by Confederation standards, an intentional deception maintained for decades. Behind its conventional hull plating and seemingly ordinary propulsion system lay technologies the galaxy's powers could scarcely imagine. "Status report," Do-hyun ordered, his voice calm despite the news they had just received. Lieutenant Min Ji-kang looked up from her station. "Navari Colony 7 has gone silent, Captain. Last transmissions indicated Verax warships entered their atmosphere 3 hours ago." The bridge crew maintained their composure, but anger filled the air like an electric charge. Navari 7 housed over 40,000 civilians, including 300 human children who had been part of a cultural exchange program. "Any survivors?" Do-hyun asked. "Unknown. The Verax are jamming all communications in the system." The captain nodded once. "Record all sensor data. Forward everything to Earth Command." The Resilience and its companion vessels had been patrolling the edge of Confederation space for months, appearing to be nothing more than outdated diplomatic escorts. Now they moved carefully closer to Verax territory, gathering intelligence while maintaining their unremarkable facade. "Message from Earth Command," announced Communications Officer Jae-Yun. "Marked Priority 1. The message appeared on Do-hyun's private screen. His expression remained neutral as he read, but his posture straightened almost imperceptibly. "New orders," he announced. "Defense restrictions have been modified. We are now authorized for Level 2 response if directly engaged." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Level 2 meant they could finally use some of their actual capabilities instead of the deliberately weakened systems they normally operated. "Sir," asked Navigator Sung-ho Park, "does this mean Protocol Omega is being implemented?" "Not yet," Do-hyun replied. "For now, we observe and report. But be ready." On the main view screen, a galaxy-wide broadcast began playing. The scaled face of the Verax Emperor filled the display, his yellow eyes gleaming with triumph. "Today marks the beginning of a new era for the galaxy," the Emperor announced. "The Navari have been absorbed into our growing empire, as is right and natural. Their resources now serve as stronger power. Do-hyun watched silently as the Emperor continued. Let all species understand that strength determines destiny, especially the humans who hide behind diplomacy because their technology is primitive and their bodies fragile. They are beneath our concern. The broadcast ended, replaced by incoming sensor data. Lieutenant Kang's hands moved quickly over her console. Captain, we're detecting multiple Verax battle groups moving toward Confederation borders. They're not bothering to hide their movements anymore. They're testing reactions, Do-hyun noted, seeing who will stand against them. Hours later, the emergency session of the Confederation Council was broadcast throughout known space. Ambassador Tae Kim stood before the gathered representatives, her simple Earth uniform stark against the elaborate costumes of older species. The destruction of Navari Colony 7 represents a direct violation of Confederation Charter, Article 6, she stated calmly. Earth formally requests immediate sanctions against the Verax Empire. The Verax representative laughed openly. Sanctions, while your people hide in your primitive solar system. Perhaps humans should demonstrate their much-discussed courage before making demands. Murmurs spread through the council chamber. Earth had always advocated peaceful solutions, often stepping back from conflicts that didn't directly involve human interests. Many younger species interpreted this as weakness or technological inferiority. Older species sometimes exchanged knowing glances during such discussions, but never explained their concern. Ambassador Kim's response was measured. Earth has always chosen diplomatic paths when available. That choice reflects wisdom, not weakness. The debate continued for hours, with various species hesitant to challenge the militarily superior Verax. Eventually, the council proposed a compromise, formal censure, but no concrete action. Ambassador Kim stood once more. The chamber fell silent, anticipating another plea for peace. Earth withdraws from diplomatic resolution efforts immediately, she announced instead. Her voice remained steady, but something in her tone made several elder representatives shift uncomfortably in their seats. Before anyone could respond, emergency alerts sounded throughout the chamber. Reports flooded in of 3 more colony worlds under Verax attack, one with a significant human population. On the bridge of the Resilience, Do-hyun received the update with the same outward calm he always maintained. Inside, his anger burned cold and precise. New orders from Earth Command, Jae-yun announced. Captain, you need to see this immediately. Do-hyun read the transmission twice, then looked up at his waiting crew. Protocol Omega has been partially activated, he stated. Resilience and all Earth vessels are now authorized for Level 4 response. Sung-ho's eyes widened. Level 4. After all these years? Yes, Do-hyun confirmed. We are to proceed to the Tyrillian system and intercept the Verax battle group threatening the colonies there. Rules of engagement? Asked Minji. Do-hyun's expression hardened slightly. We are to give one warning. After that, we are authorized to demonstrate Earth's actual capabilities within defined parameters. The bridge crew moved with new purpose, the pretense of being an outdated vessel falling away with each passing second. Hidden systems came online. Weapons that had never been used outside Earth's secret testing grounds prepared for deployment. Set course for Tyrillian, Do-hyun ordered. Maximum speed. Maximum actual speed or maximum pretend speed? Navigator Sung-ho asked with the ghost of a smile. Actual speed, Do-hyun replied. It's time the galaxy remembered why their ancestors were careful around humans. As the Resilience and its companion ships accelerated to velocities the Confederation believed impossible for Earth vessels, Ambassador Kim stood before the Council one final time. Earth has maintained peace because we chose peace, she informed the stunned representatives. Not because we feared war. The Verax Empire has made a fundamental miscalculation that they will soon regret. The oldest council members, species that had observed Earth from afar long before official contact, nodded silently. They had always known this day might come. The polite facade was beginning to crack. Elder Zetal moved quickly through the crowded halls of the Confederation headquarters, his ancient body propelled by urgency. The Ardelian diplomat had lived for 3 centuries and had seen many conflicts, but few filled him with such dread as the one now unfolding. He found the Verax delegation in their private chamber, surrounded by military advisors. General Krax looked up with irritation as Zetal entered without permission. "This is a closed meeting, Ardelian," Krax growled. "Your species' neutrality does not grant you access here." Zetal ignored the protest. "You must reconsider your position on humans immediately." The Verax general laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the walls. "The weak Earth vessels. Their colonies will fall within days." "You don't understand," Zetal insisted. 50,000 years ago, my ancestors visited Earth. We observed humans when they still used stone tools. Even then, the Ardelian Science Council determined they were too dangerous to contact until they had matured. Krax's yellow eyes narrowed. "Dangerous. These soft creatures who speak only of peace. Not because they were weak," Zetal explained, "but because of what they could become. What they already are." Before the Verax could respond, an aide rushed into the room. "General, our scout fleet in the Hiatus system reports contact with Earth vessels." In the cold emptiness of the Hiatus system, Captain Do-hyun Lee watched as the Verax scout fleet approached. 6 warships against the Resilience and its 2 companion vessels. The Verax commander had already transmitted demands for immediate surrender. "All systems at level 4 readiness," reported Lieutenant Minji. "Waiting for your command, Captain." Do-hyun opened a channel to the Verax fleet. "This is Captain Lee of the Earth Defense Force. Your forces have attacked Confederation worlds without provocation. Withdraw immediately." The response came quickly, as expected. "Earth vessel, power down and prepare to be boarded. Your primitive ships cannot hope to stand against Verax might." Do-hyun closed the channel and turned to his crew. "They've made their choice. Reveal propulsion capabilities only. Weapons remain at minimum disclosure levels." "Understood, Captain," Minji replied. "Engaging actual engines now." The Resilience suddenly accelerated at a speed that defied the Verax understanding of physics. In seconds, it flanked the enemy formation. The Verax ships fired immediately, their energy weapons striking the Earth vessel directly. The impact washed over the Resilience's hull with minimal effect. What appeared to be standard metal plating absorbed the energy through technologies developed in secret Earth laboratories decades earlier. "Return fire," Do-hyun ordered calmly. "Conventional weapons only." The Earth ships fired what appeared to be simple projectile weapons, but these projectiles altered course mid-flight, bypassing shields and striking with precision that left the Verax vessels crippled but not destroyed. "Enemy fleet disabled," Minji reported. "They've lost propulsion and weapons, but life support remains intact." Do-hyun nodded. "As ordered, transmit battle data to Earth Command." Back in the Confederation Council chamber, Ambassador Ta-hee Kim addressed the stunned representatives. A live feed of the Hiatus engagement played behind her. "For 30 years, Earth has maintained the appearance of technological modesty," she explained. "Not because we lacked advancement, but because we understood the responsibility that comes with power." The council chamber remained silent as the footage showed Earth ships moving with impossible speed and precision, absorbing direct hits without damage. "Humans chose peace not from weakness, but from wisdom," Ta-hee continued. "That choice has now been removed." Elder Zetal stepped forward. "I must address the council with information long kept in our archives." The Ardelian activated a holographic display showing ancient records. "My species first encountered humans 50 millennia ago. We observed a species with remarkable adaptability and unprecedented capacity for both cooperation and warfare." The display showed archaeological findings from Earth's distant past. "Unlike most species who excel at either peace or war," Zetal explained, "humans mastered both. They could build wonders together. then turned those same skills to destruction with frightening efficiency. The younger council members looked confused, but the representatives of the oldest spacefaring races nodded in understanding. When Earth developed faster than light travel, Zetal continued, the Elder Species Alliance debated whether to welcome them or contain them. We chose integration, hoping they would choose peace. And we did. Ambassador Kim added. Earth united its nations, ended its internal wars, and joined the stars with genuine desire for cooperation. But you concealed your military capability, accused the Verax representative. Yes, Tahi acknowledged without apology. Because we understood how power tempts. Better to appear humble than provoke fear or encourage challengers. The Verax Empire has attacked 3 more Confederation worlds, announced the Council Elder, reading an incoming report, including the human colony on Trillion 4. Ambassador Kim's expression hardened slightly. Then Earth's response will escalate accordingly. On the bridge of the Resilience, Du Hyun received new orders from Earth Command. He read them carefully before addressing his crew. Protocol Omega has been fully activated, he announced. All restrictions on Earth defensive capabilities have been lifted. The crew worked with focused intensity, activating systems that had remained dormant since the vessel's construction. Hidden weapon ports opened along the hull. The ship's energy signature changed as power flowed through previously concealed conduits. Set course for Trillion 4, Du Hyun ordered. Maximum speed. Throughout the galaxy, Earth vessels revealed their true nature. Military installations hidden beneath the surfaces of planets and moons activated after decades of secrecy. Defensive systems that had been disguised as scientific outposts prepared for combat. In observation rooms across Confederation space, military experts from dozens of species watched in growing amazement as Earth's actual technological capabilities became apparent. How did they hide all this? Asked a young Navari observer. The Ardelian instructor replied softly. They didn't hide their technology. They hide their nature. Humans are not naturally peaceful as many believed. They are naturally balanced, capable of extraordinary violence and extraordinary compassion in equal measure. Then why choose peace for so long? Because they understand war better than any of us, the Ardelian explained. It fought themselves for thousands of years, perfecting the art of destruction. When they finally united their world, they chose to become something better, not because they couldn't fight, but because they knew exactly what fighting meant. As the Resilience approached Trillion 4, Du Hyun watched the tactical display showing the massive Verax fleet in orbit around the human colony. They still don't understand what they've provoked, he said quietly. They will soon, Minji replied. Du Hyun nodded. Open a channel to all Earth forces. It's time to show the galaxy why humans were being polite. The Verax Emperor stood before the holographic display, showing his empire's main battle fleet positioning around Earth's solar system. 117 warships, the pride of Verax military might, prepared for what their commanders assured would be a swift conquest. The humans have shown some unexpected capabilities, admitted General Krax, but nothing that can withstand our full strength. Their colony at Trillion offered significant resistance, noted a military advisor. 3 of our attack vessels were destroyed. The Emperor waved away this concern. Minor setbacks. Once we control their homeworld, these outlying colonies will surrender. As the Verax fleet approached the orbit of Neptune, their sensors detected unusual energy readings. Suddenly, the seemingly empty space around them filled with defensive platforms that had remained invisible until activated. Energy weapons locking onto our vessels, shouted a Verax commander, reading hundreds of targets. The first volley from Earth's outer defense grid disabled 12 Verax ships in seconds. Not destroyed, precisely disabled. Their propulsion, weapons, and communication systems shut down simultaneously, leaving life support intact. Impossible, whispered General Krax as he watched the battle unfold. Their technology cannot be this advanced. In Earth Command Center, buried deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Colonel Jaiho Kang directed the solar system's defense. Displays showed the positions of every ship, every platform, every weapon in Earth's carefully hidden arsenal. "The Verax fleet is adjusting formation," reported a tactical officer. "They're concentrating firepower on Defense Ring Alpha." Jeho nodded calmly. "As expected. Activate Ring Beta and deploy the Saturn contingent." From the rings of Saturn emerged dozens of Earth vessels that had remained dormant for years. These ships moved with impossible speed, using propulsion systems based on principles the Confederation believed humans had not yet discovered. Captain Du Hyun Lee led this fleet from the Resilience, now revealing its full capabilities. The ship's outer hull had reconfigured, showing its true design beneath the modest exterior. "Target Verax command vessels only," Du Hyun ordered. "Disable, don't destroy unless absolutely necessary." The battle unfolded with mathematical precision. Earth forces operated with coordinated efficiency that stunned observers throughout the galaxy. Confederation military experts who had dismissed human capabilities watched in silence as their assumptions crumbled. "They fight unlike any species we've encountered," reported a Meridian observer. "They adapt mid-battle, constantly changing tactics to counter Verax responses." An Ardelian military historian added, "This isn't just advanced technology. Their strategy shows centuries of military evolution. They're fighting as if they've prepared for this specific conflict for decades." In truth, they had. Since joining the Confederation, Earth had quietly studied every species' military doctrine, prepared counters for every known weapon, and developed defenses against technologies humanity supposedly didn't understand. As the battle continued, the Verax fleet found itself increasingly outmaneuvered. Their ships were more heavily armed, but Earth vessels moved with greater precision and coordination. Human weapons targeted specific systems rather than attempting outright destruction, a display of control that required extraordinary technological sophistication. In the Verax command ship, General Krax faced the unthinkable prospect of defeat. "The Emperor demands we use the singularity weapons," reported his second-in-command. Krax hesitated. "Those are forbidden by Confederation law. Using them would unite the galaxy against us. The Emperor believes the demonstration will force Earth's surrender. The humans value life too highly to risk further casualties." With reluctance, Krax gave the order. From 3 Verax battleships came weapons of terrible power, artificial singularities that could tear planets apart. They targeted not Earth itself, but the colony on Mars, home to 12 million human settlers. Earth's response was immediate. The Resilience and 5 companion ships moved to intercept, deploying countermeasures the Verax had not believed possible. The singularities were contained, their energy dispersed harmlessly into subspace. Then, for the first time, Earth forces switched from defensive to offensive operations. "The humans are targeting our flagship," reported a Verax officer, panic in his voice. "Their weapons are penetrating all shields." Captain Du Hyun opened a communication channel to all Verax vessels. His face appeared on their command screens, expression calm but resolute. "This is Captain Lee of the Earth Defense Force. Your use of forbidden singularity weapons has changed the parameters of this conflict. You mistook politeness for weakness. This mistake will not be permitted again." The Resilience fired a single shot, a concentrated beam of energy that passed through the Verax flagship's shields as if they didn't exist. The beam struck with surgical precision, disabling the vessel's command center without causing catastrophic damage. Throughout the system, Earth's hidden military installations revealed themselves. Bases on moons and asteroids activated advanced weapon systems. Ships emerged from concealed docks within gas giants' atmospheres. A defensive network that had been built in secret for decades finally showed its true purpose. In the Confederation Council chamber, representatives watched the battle with growing amazement. Ambassador Tae Kim stood quietly as the footage played. "How long has Earth possessed these capabilities?" asked the Meridian Council elder. "Since before we joined the Confederation," Tae replied honestly. Our technological development did not pause when we united our world. We simply chose not to emphasize our military advancements. Why reveal everything now? Asked a younger representative. Because the Varax left us no choice, she explained. They mistook our restraint for weakness, our diplomacy for fear. We preferred peace, but we always remained prepared for war. In orbit around Jupiter, Colonel Jaho directed the final phase of the battle. The remaining Varax ships found themselves surrounded, their most powerful weapons neutralized by countermeasures they couldn't comprehend. All Varax vessels have been contained, reported his tactical officer. Minimal casualties on both sides. Jiho nodded with satisfaction. Send word to Earth Command. Phase 1 of Protocol Omega is complete. The Varax Emperor received the news of his fleet's defeat with stunned disbelief. For generations, his species had believed military strength determined galactic status. Now they faced a truth many elder species had long understood. Humans had never been weak. They had been kind. As the battle ended, Captain Do-hyun transmitted a final message to the disabled Varax flagship. The Varax Empire will withdraw from all occupied territories immediately. Earth's representatives will provide terms for your surrender. Consider carefully before rejecting them. You have seen only a fraction of what we can do. The age of human politeness had ended. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 month after the decisive battle in Earth's solar system, representatives from 500 species gathered in the Grand Confederation Hall. The chamber had been expanded to accommodate all who wished to witness this historic moment. At the center stood a simple table with just 2 chairs. Ambassador Tae-hee Kim entered from one side, wearing the formal midnight blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. From the opposite entrance came the Varax Emperor himself, his scales dulled from stress, his once proud posture now stiff with tension. The hall fell silent as the 2 representatives sat across from each other. The terms have been reviewed by your advisors, Tae-hee asked simply. The Emperor nodded. They are acceptable. The words clearly pained him. Tae-hee placed a simple document on the table, not a digital display or holographic projection, as most species would use, but actual paper and Earth tradition for momentous agreements. The Emperor pressed his scaled hand to the document, leaving a chemical mark that served as his signature. Tae-hee signed next. The Confederation's first elder announced, "The Treaty of Seoul is complete. The conflict is officially ended." Throughout the galaxy, billions watched as the mighty Varax Empire acknowledged defeat, not through destruction, but through precise, overwhelming force applied with remarkable restraint. The human victory had resulted in minimal loss of life, a demonstration of power made all the more impressive by its control. Later that day, Ambassador Kim addressed the full Confederation Council. Humanity concealed our military technology because we hoped never to use it, she explained to the attentive assembly. We understood that power creates temptation, and Elder Meridian rose to speak. Yet you maintained these capabilities in secret. You prepared for war while advocating peace. Yes, Tae-hee acknowledged without apology. Earth's history taught us harsh lessons. For thousands of years, our people fought each other, nearly destroying our world several times. When we finally united, we vowed to avoid unnecessary conflict, but we never vowed to be defenseless. The representative from a younger species asked, "Will Earth now take the Varax's place as the dominant military power?" Tae-hee shook her head. Dominance was never our goal. Security was. The defensive network in our solar system will remain active, but our fleets are already returning to their hidden bases. In the observation gallery, Elder Zetal watched with profound relief. The Ardelian had feared that humans, once unleashed, might not return to their peaceful ways. His species' ancient records contained warnings about humanity's capacity for both creation and destruction. Across the galaxy, the effects of Earth's revelation rippled through societies. On education worlds, instructors rewrote their curriculum about human history. Museums updated displays about Earth technology. Military academies studied the brief but decisive conflict for lessons about strategy and restraint. Admiral Do Hyun Lee, recently promoted from captain, oversaw the implementation of new security protocols throughout Confederation space. His quiet efficiency became legendary among younger species. The Resilience and its companion vessels remained visible, no longer hiding their capabilities, serving as reminders of Earth's protective presence. "The Navari delegation wishes to speak with you," reported an aide as Do Hyun reviewed defense plans. The admiral nodded and welcomed the representatives of the species whose worlds had first fallen to Varak's aggression. "Our people wish to express gratitude," said the Navari diplomat. "You protected our remaining colonies when no one else would stand against the Varaks." "It was necessary," Do Hyun replied simply. "No species should live under threat of extinction." "But we don't understand," the Navari continued. "If Earth possessed such power all along, why wait? Why allow our first colonies to fall?" Do Hyun considered his words carefully. Earth's policy was non-intervention until directly threatened. "We regret that we could not prevent the initial attacks." What he did not say was that Earth's leaders had debated this very question for days. The decision to maintain cover until human lives were threatened had been controversial. Some argued that all sentient life deserved equal protection. Others insisted that revealing Earth's capabilities prematurely might trigger even greater conflicts. In the secure chambers of Earth Command, Jae-won Park and Tae Kim watched as Protocol Omega was formally deactivated. The emergency measures, prepared decades earlier, had functioned exactly as designed. "How long until we need it again?" asked Tae. Jae-won looked out at the stars visible through the viewport. "As long as they remember that our politeness was a gift, not a weakness." On worlds throughout the Confederation, a new understanding of humanity took root. Children of various species learned a new proverb: "Earth extends its hand in friendship first. Be wise enough to accept it." The Varaks, once proud and expansionist, rebuilt under the watchful eye of Earth observers. Their military might reduced, but not eliminated, they began to appreciate the human approach to power, not flaunting strength, but reserving it for genuine need. 6 months after the conflict ended, Tahi visited the Ardelian homeworld at Elder Zetal's invitation. They walked through ancient gardens whose plants had evolved before mammals appeared on Earth. "Your people always knew what humans could become," Tahi said. "Your records showed our potential for violence, as well as cooperation." Zetal nodded slowly. "We debated for centuries whether to make contact with Earth or to isolate your world. Some feared you would become a threat to galactic peace. And others believed humanity might achieve a balance no other species had managed, understanding war so completely that you would choose peace not from weakness, but from wisdom." Tahi smiled. "Both sides were right, I suppose." As they looked up at the stars shining through Ardelian's thin atmosphere, Zetal asked the question many species now pondered: "What will Earth do with its revealed power? Will you maintain your restraint now that the galaxy knows your true capabilities?" "That has always been our greatest challenge," Tahi admitted. "Power tempts its holders to use it. But I believe we will remember our own history, how close we came to destroying ourselves, how hard-won our unity was." She paused, watching a shooting star trace its brief path across the alien sky. "Earth was never pretending to value peace," she said finally. "We were merely hiding how prepared we were for war. The desire for peaceful cooperation remains genuine, but now the galaxy understands that our politeness should not be mistaken for permission to threaten what we value." That evening, on thousands of worlds, beings of all forms looked toward the small blue-white star that was Sol, some with new respect, others with caution, but all with the understanding that humanity had shown remarkable restraint, until they didn't. The polite species had revealed its teeth, then sheathed them again. The galaxy would remember.